ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Colors, it's a victorious Friday. East Carolina wins 41-27 over the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. The Pirates are 4-3 on the season, 2-1 in the American Conference. And we're here on another Friday reaction show, our fourth of the season in 7 games, because this was ECU's fourth Thursday night game of the season thus far. But hey, we are done with Thursday nights, at least during the regular season. 5 Saturday games to go in November. And hopefully the Pirates can continue to stack wins to make each of those more important as we get deeper into the season. Again, ECU wins it 41-27. The comments sections and our live stream are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you got a question, comment, or concern, drop it there. We'll get to it over the course of the next hour. We've got our full crew today. Philip Pilkin is behind the glass. We also got Bobby Harward in studio. Bobby, what's up, man?
What's happening, man? I'm glad we're going into the bye week with a win. It makes things a little bit easier to talk about. And got a question for you. Is it always weird ending Golden Hurricane and not Golden Hurricanes? Do you have to pause, or is it just habit now?
I'm used to it now because ECU and Tulsa have played in so many sports, and I've written it so many times, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing I struggle with is when I write it, Golden Hurricane is a singular, obviously, mascot, so I have to write it as the Golden Hurricane, had its first touchdown of the game instead of there. To get into the grammar side of it, it's confusing.
That's why I'm glad you're my editor for the pieces I write, because there's no telling what kind of grammar goes your way.
Yeah, honestly, you do a solid job. I have to edit like some stylistic things, but actual writing, you do good. So
I appreciate it.
Don't beat yourself up too much. By the way, Bobby Harward brought to you today by 1675 East Fire Tower Road, Greenville, North Carolina. Over by the AMC movie theater. Great lunch, great dinner options, sandwiches, pasta, pizza, and more. Appreciate their support of the program. Basil's does a tremendous job with all the food they have over there. Great place to have a drink as well. All right, overall thoughts for the game. We'll go around the horn here. We'll start with Bobby. Just what did you like from the Pirates' big win?
Number one, a victory, first and foremost. I mean, even if they would have won 41-40, I think we'd have some more frustration and angst in the fan base. But still, again, bottom line, win is a win. We look back at the end of the year. We're not going to look back at the score. We're going to see the W. So that's the most important thing. And then the return of our big plays on offense. That was nice to see. And lastly, with the offensive side, it was really cool to see. We finally saw Mike Wright. We saw the energy that he brought. Again, you wrote about this in your takeaways piece, and I thought you hit the nail on the head with it. He wasn't the most productive in the stat line, but it was very clear and obvious the energy that he brought. Just sitting however many rows up I was in Section 2, you could just see the energy and juice on the sideline when he would go in there and he would make plays.
Saw him at on a corner blitz, which was a little crazy, and he actually ended up getting 2 snaps at cornerback on defense. So line up everywhere offensively as well. All right, Philip Pilkinen, what did you think last night watching it from the Town Bank Tower radio booth?
Well, the one thing I was glad about, like Bobby said, was the Mike Wright. We also saw him as a gunner on special teams.
Yeah.
So we talk about offense, defense, and special teams. Well, Mike Wright is all 3 of those. So it's clear that we're going to use him, and there is a Mike Wright package. I know people, you only see 1 target, 1 reception, 3 rushing attempts. I know people want to probably see it more, but that's probably going to be the norm moving forward. Usually when you got a gadget guy like that, that's 4 to 5 times used on probably 8 or 10 snaps. So that's about normal. But overall, man, the explosive plays were there, pushing the ball down the field, giving Caton time to push the ball down the field, running the ball really solidly. We did have the long, finally breakout run as well, but I just like the amount of times that we saw 5, 6, 7 yards right up the middle. It just looked like a very competent offense overall. And competent offenses can score in one play, and competent offenses can slowly drive down the field and chew clock. And I thought they did that. Also, I think they did a good job of taking their losses. It seemed like when a play broke down or something went bad, Caton did a good job just sailing it into the sideline. It seemed like a lot of times the ball carriers just got what they could get. There wasn't too much dancing. I just thought it looked like a very mature game played by the offense, and that's something you've got to be able to do going forward to accomplish the goals in which you have set for yourself.
Definitely the most complete game we've seen by the offense this year. I know defensively, we asked Blake Harrell after the game. He said, look, anytime you give up 27 points, I don't think it's a complete defensive game. So we'll get into that. But we'll start with the offense. Also, we got a lot of good comments coming in. Keep dropping those, guys, and we'll get to those in our next segment starting. But 568 yards of offense. And I felt like there was some yardage left out there. Like you had the holding call on the – I think that was the play to Mike Wright to open the second half. That ended up derailing a drive. But, otherwise, 568 yards, 268 rushing, 300 passing, 9 of 19 on third downs, which is close to 50%. They've honestly been really good on third downs this year. It's been fourth downs. It's been the bugaboo. So just 1 of 3 on fourth downs again last night. But 6.2 yards per play, 14.3 yards per completion. We saw again Anthony Smith get behind the defense, 2 60-plus yard touchdown catches. London, as you guys said, hit a season-long 51-yard run. So, I wrote and I asked some of the players after the game, it felt like the second half of last year's defense. Now, we got to keep in mind Tulsa not great defensively, Bobby, but still good to see this as we get ready to go into the second half of the year where you're probably going to need some points being scored.
Yeah, 100%. If nothing else, I mean, this is going to be great teaching tape for these coaches because there's still a lot of mistakes that are going to show up on film. And as the saying is, it's going to be a lot easier to coach them harder coming off of a win and improve on that going into a bye week. And that's going to be really important. I'll start with the rushing game. Nice to see. It looks like we got our stable of 3 that we were kind of curious how that was going to look. And, it seems like right now at least Parker Jenkins is the odd man out, which is, unfortunate for that young man. But it seemed, 16 carries by London Montgomery, 14 by Marlon Gunn, and 10 by Engelman. Felt like all were used there pretty equally. And then in the pass game, one of the things doing that film breakdown, and I wrote about it, is how much too high they were. And there was a lot of cover 4. And one of the beaters for that cover 4 is those deep comebacks and stop routes. And they hit those early, and then that allowed the big play for Anthony Smith because he did a little stutter and go like he was going to sit on another stop route. And then the safety there took a terrible angle too, which helped the case. But still, big play nonetheless.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if that was, it could have been an interception if the safety took a good route. But the corner bit hard, and John David Baker and Blake Harrell, they had a discussion on the headset. Blake Harrell said, he was like, hey, that corner almost jumped a hitch in quarters coverage, which obviously cover 4. And he was like, you can get him on a double move, and they got him. JDB's like, I already got it dialed up. So, good to see them working on the same page there. Caton hitting the big play to Smith. Running game-wise, looking at some of the numbers from PFF, obviously London Montgomery didn't force any missed tackles, but he's fast. He's 40 yards after contact, ran hard as well. Marlon Gunn, 4 missed tackles forced carrying the football. I still think he just looks really explosive, man, compared to last year. And then TJ Engelman also forced a missed tackle, 26 yards. Mike Wright, 2 forced missed tackles on just 3 attempts. So, I guess if you are Parker Jenkins, it's probably a little deflating, but we all know running backs, they get banged up. He's probably going to get another shot at some point.
Oh, 100%. And he'll still have to travel. He can, I don't know what his special teams usage is, but I'd imagine he's a special teams guy. And then for him, too, I mean, we've kind of talked about it. One thing he can really focus on is hitting the gaps. And that was one thing. He had a lot of missed cuts. So, working on that and improving that in this bye week here will be critical for him and something to continue to work on. He needs to stay engaged because, like you said, it's very easy for one of these guys to go down.
All right. I said we get to the comments later, but I have to read this one. Kenny Curlin says, did I see Bobby use his great athleticism to recover from an almost faceplant on the stairs?
Man, I was hoping nobody would see that.
Oof.
Dude, this is the second time. This is 2 weeks in a row. This stairwell coming down from the section.
The stairwell.
I'm blaming the stairwell. Thank you for calling this out, Kenny. I was walking down, and then it kind of caves in so you can get down to the the downstairs to go to the concourse area. And 2 weeks in a row, my foot has slid through the little crevice there between the hand railing and the concrete. I'm more angry at it scuffed up my shoe. I'll show you. I got a strawberry from it on my knee.
Ooh,
right there.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for pointing out the athleticism, though. That's where the credit needs to go to.
Man, that would have been bad if you would have face planted and had to.
Oh, dude, it was one of those.
Or something.
Sometimes when I fall, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go all the way, and the damage won't be that bad. I was like, this one I cannot go all the way. Not only would it suck hitting your face on concrete, but in front of thousands of people would just not be great.
Was it really thousands of people though? we gotta talk.
Depends on what quarter it was.
Yeah, that's true.
The attendance thing, man, I'm trying not to drive it home too much, but we got to address that at some point. I know we got some comments. All right, a couple of things also on the offense before I get Phillips' take a little bit more here, too. Jamarion McCrimmon, 22 snaps, graded out really well. He goes down with an injury, so Jason Tarpey, senior former JUCO tackle, steps in. He plays 70 snaps at tackle and held his own out there. Obviously room for improvement, but his first real time. So you're down to your two backup tackles. Cooper Trivnosky also playing at right tackle with Bryce Weaver out. I thought they did okay, and hopefully you can get McCrimmon back after the bye. Blake didn't seem too concerned about him or Brock Spalding, and says these 16 days come at a good time because Brock had to leave as well with a hamstring in the first half. Otherwise, Emmanuel Poku graded out well. Darius Bell pretty well at center, and some solid performances. Desiree Rouse, the highest graded Pirate upon initial review at tight end, had a good game. So, I don't know, Phil, but anything else stand out offensively watching it?
You mentioned there that there had been some injuries, right? And not only, offensive line, you pretty much play your five, but in the pass game, our skill guys, there was a lot of rotation going on. And that's what we want to see. It's what we've kind of been asking for all year. And I think the offense hasn't been in enough rhythm with the starters where JDB and his staff feel like they can sub in more bodies. But we saw more of Johnson, saw more of Petaway. And it was just nice to see a lot of different faces in the game because we see it so much defensively, right? I mean, there was actually a play. It was the first third down of the game where they actually subbed all 11 defensive guys. And we're getting the defense in a second. But the question is, when a guy goes down, who's the next man up on offense? I think the coaching staff now has some film where they can grade some of these twos in a true game setting, not when you're up on Campbell 35-0 or whatever the heck it was. So I think the ability to get those guys in and their effectiveness, yes, there was a little bit of fall off, but at the end of the day, I think it gives those young men confidence and it gives the coaches something to coach on to each young man individually. So I really liked the amount of bodies that got in on the offensive side of the ball.
All right, one comment I do want to address because this has to do with the offense from our buddy Jansen Kidd. Good to see you, Jansen, and your kid prior to the game. Go Jags. He says, arguably my biggest critique of an otherwise solid win, the ending of the first half. 2 timeouts, 105 left. That's the time to put our foot down. ECU was definitely caught in between there on what they wanted to do. Now, the problem is, let me go back to the exact drive here. No, I don't want to click on an ad. All right, so ECU started with the ball in the second quarter at their minus 8-yard line. 105 left in the half. 2 timeouts. So, you're up 24-10.
I want to bring up Tulsa had 2 timeouts also at this point, so continue.
So they were stuck in between of all right, we don't want to go 3 and out and give them the ball back with a chance to score. And I think they were trying to basically pop a run there, and if they popped a big one, maybe they take a timeout and go for the score. But I thought they were caught in between, and I didn't have a problem. I didn't hate it. I can see both sides. I can see wanting to be aggressive, but in the back of your mind, you have that BYU game in your head too.
Yeah, I think they're scarred there for that, and it was 24-14, so it was a 10-point game, and yeah, that was kind of, somebody had asked me that I was sitting with what I would do, and I said exactly what they did, is you run the football and you hope they pop one. If they do, then you crank into your offense and pick up the pace. But if not, I'm cool with running it out there. The last thing you want to do is give a team that's starting to flutter, and the coaching the coaching staff knows this. They're not a second-half team, so you don't want to give them life going into the second half and then let them build on that.
And you had the ball coming out of the half.
Yep.
And
I just wish after one first down, we've not said that we needed to see a shot play, but there was almost too many runs. It's like, could we have thrown a screen or something, maybe a little more high percentage chance of breaking it off as opposed to how many ever inside zones we did. That was my problem. It wasn't the conservativeness. It was in the way in which we were conservative, I guess.
There was a play where they either got, I had to go back and watch it. There's a play where they either got the first down and got really close to it, and I think if they would have rushed after that, they had, I think around the 25-30, maybe you call a timeout there and take a shot, but I think they just didn't want to give Tulsa any extra life.
Well, and you saw, too, Tulsa's approach of using their timeouts. They were trying to be aggressive, too. So I think that plays into it as well.
So, look, and I get the critique, Jansen, and I think it's fair either way, looking at it, depending on how aggressive you want to be in that situation. All right, let's go ahead and get a break in. We've got a lot of comments. We'll start to dive into that. We'll get into the defense as well on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors on a Reaction Friday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. You get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
With Stephen Igo.
Reaction Friday. Pirates win 41-27 over Tulsa. They get to 4-3 on the season, 2-1 in the conference. We've got Bobby Harward in studio, brought to you by Basil's. Philip Hilkinen producing today's program as well. All right, a lot of comments here. Let's start to roll through some of these. We can get to as many as we can. Tim P says Section 10 was outraged we didn't get to hear swag surfing. Is that Tim Pernetti? He was at the game last night, by the way. This is the third straight ECU game he's been at because he goes every Thursday night game, I guess. But I don't know. I guess you were in Section 2. Were you also upset they didn't play swag surfing?
I didn't know that was a thing at ECU.
Like, is that a thing, or is this guy just trying to be funny?
I love some swag surfing, though. I think it gets everybody excited, but
but there would have been no swag surfing last night because there's like 18 empty seats between each person. I feel like you got to have like a jam stadium.
I'm going to start keeping a tracker of how many jabs you take at the attendance.
I got to. What was our...
Is he at 2 right now? I think they're both kind of like side jabs. I want to say we're at 2.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Josh Hill says, decent on the field last night, horrible in the stands. Yeah, all right, so what was worse last night, the attendance or the officiating?
I didn't notice the...
I'm going to go attendance.
Yeah, I was going to say attendance. I honestly... Maybe it's just me, and maybe I was still recovering from my athleticism, but I didn't notice overly the terrible officiating.
I
think
it was bad towards the end.
Yeah, and I had kind of zoned out at the end. But the attendance from the get-go, it just looked poor. And I don't think some of the TV shots that ESPN put on there
They were
helped.
almost like trying to display how bad it was.
Yeah.
Usually I feel like when they do these games, they try to avoid the crowd shots. So, look, I don't know, man. We'll go ahead and address the attendance thing now.
This will be halftime. We'll do defense in the second half.
Yeah.
Halftime show is the attendance.
The halftime show, look, it wasn't good. I almost called you Scotty. Bobby and I were talking about how it looked like a Scotty Montgomery era attendance, but obviously the team deserves better. I do think this is a culmination of Thursday night games. We've talked about it a million times. You have a fan base that a lot of it is out of town. A lot of the fans have families, and you can't expect them to drive in from Raleigh and Charlotte, Virginia, South Carolina, wherever, for a Thursday night game and drive back. Some of those people do, and I give them tremendous amount of credit. Obviously, the people that show up are incredible, but the overall attendance was bad. The students show up late, and then they leave early. They left before halftime, and they don't even make it a halftime now. It's like second quarter. We have a major culture problem, specifically with the student attendance right now. And as a former ECU student, it's disappointing. It's disheartening to see. It was a big deal to go to ECU football games when I was in school, and now it's like they show up for a quarter and a half. And maybe it's on the school to do something better to keep them entertained, but we got to find a way to get better there. And obviously winning helps, but you were up 24-14 at halftime last night. Yeah, Tulsa's not the sexiest opponent, but if ECU's going to be a school that prides itself on attendance, fans, support, all that, we got to start showing better, even for a Thursday night game.
All right, I got something. They left to go to the bars. So what the bars need to do is if you have a selfie of yourself with the scoreboard in the background in the student section in the fourth quarter, you get one free drink or something like that, or 50% off your bill. Like, there's got to be an incentive to say, which I guess the bars aren't going to do that because they want people to show up earlier. But that's the problem. All the bars opening downtown. I think, when you were in school, there were a handful, but I don't think it was as much of a thing as it is now. I think people stayed and went to games, especially the night at the Boneyard Thursday night game. But now they got all these Thirsty Thursdays deals, and they're more worried about partying than going to the game. Like, that's the issue. Party before the game. And you can still party after, but that's the problem with the Saturday night games too. I think the Saturday noon games, the students actually stay longer. The Saturday 3 o'clock games, the students stay longer. The problem is they can't go one night without getting messed up. Get messed up at the game.
Can we offer like discounted beer in the second half to the students, or is that a bad idea?
I think
that's not from a safety perspective.
Yeah. Here's the problem.
We got to figure out something. I don't know.
Here's part of the issue too. Other schools can, not that other schools do, because a lot of other schools don't have this problem, but you could have an incentive like Duke. Let's take Duke for example. Hey, if you stay to the end of every football game, you get bumped up in the line for Carolina tickets for the basketball game. Or something like that. At this point, there's no other incentive. Like right now, even most students who apply for regional tickets get them when we host a regional. Like, there's almost got to be some sort of incentive. And now it shouldn't have to be incentive based because we live in this world where everybody you got to get a trophy for everything, got to be pampered for everything. Nobody's got any freaking integrity in general. But the point is, like, if you're gonna go and you claim to be a football fan, like, why are you not staying? Like, you got 365 days to get messed up. You only got
6 home games a year.
Yeah, you get 6 home games a year. It ain't like it's, it's not like we're asking you to stay for 81 Major League home baseball games.
Scott Igo has hit the text line. My brother says the games were too long. Even I wanted to leave. And I will say this. Look,
4 hours too long. Thank you, Scott. Me and Kevin were complaining about that.
I agree there. It was like 11:30 when the game ended. So, like a legit 4-hour game. But I still don't think that excuses them from leaving in the second quarter. But I understand that point for sure. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of disheartening. It's got to be disheartening for the players, but, they got the job done on the field last night. And I guess you could say play better against BYU, all that. But I don't know. I just go back and forth. I think it's not an ECU alone problem, but obviously ECU was highlighted last night because of the national TV spotlight.
Yeah, and I almost, you like to think if they beat Tulane, that would increase the attendance from the students, but I don't think it would have mattered whether we beat Tulane or not. If we beat Tulane, I think you see actually some of those people from Raleigh and stuff that come up and fill the other seats. But and to me, I think that maybe you add the fall break. They're coming off a fall break and just getting back in town, so that's kind of part of it. They had class Wednesday, maybe?
I think so. Yep.
So you got that added factor. I think. Honestly, again, whether you want to say it's a valid reason or not, I think the Tulsa factor is legit. I mean, I remember rough era, and just like when we played UAB, nobody could care less about playing UAB, and that's, to me, the negative aspect of having a conference so spread out is, people may be more enticed as students to come to ODU or James Madison or something, another school that they may have been looking at applying to or had friends go to the school there, something like that. But, I'm not going to get into that conference realignment talk or any of that garbage.
We need to go to NFL-style things where you get a home and home with everybody. We should play App and Charlotte at home and away every year. That's how you fix it. They'd stay for App and Charlotte.
Some comments from Hunter. Says attendance gets better with consistent winning seasons. That's why it's been what it's been. Also, if ECU gets more signature wins, the people that are on the fence will buy in more. Mike Ward says attendance, man. It was night of the boneyard. Chance to highlight the students. They have no excuses. Miserable fell. More like night of a graveyard.
That's good. And to the point of whoever you mentioned before that, like the people on the fence coming from
Hunter,
Raleigh. Yeah, from Hunter, I agree with him. He's 100% spot on. But again, it's always Thursday night game. You're always going to struggle to get the out of town people, kind of regardless. Like he said, it could be better, but again, doesn't excuse the students. You live in Greenville. It shouldn't matter. You should want to go to the game instead of studying for class.
And there just needs to be, I think, more collaboration. Somebody mentions, Aaron says the administration needs to reach out to the local bars and collaborate. You mentioned this too, Philip. Like, we just need better alignment. We spent time on the pregame show about freaking Pitt County parent-teacher conference meetings last night during an ECU football game. Like, that should not happen. That's a joke, man. I mean, this county revolves around ECU, the university, and ECU football, and like, what are we doing? So that can't happen. Whoever made that decision, superintendent, whoever you want to talk, I'll talk. We'll get you on the show. Let's do it. Just disappointing, man. So we gotta have better alignment from the county, from the local bars. Everybody's got to be in it together. Blake Harrell says it all the time. Somebody wants Blake Harrell to call out the students, the fans. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not. I will say Blake Harrell was on campus yesterday. I don't know if we're doing enough job reaching out to the students on campus either.
Well, at least he was. He
is. No, he is.
Yeah.
But is anybody else reaching out on campus? Do we have stuff promoting the game? I know last year. Around this time, and even in non-football season, Playfly does a good job sending out their interns and like asking students questions, doing little videos, giving out, like a gift card or something if they get it. But I think there needs to be more. Like I've heard that PD was on campus for the first time like all year, like last week. Like PD should be on campus like every week at some point. Like people need to see the athletic department. We need to do something to like, I don't know, be over there and show a presence on main campus. Like it doesn't seem like there's a lot of collaboration going on with main campus and in the athletic department.
Well, and building upon that, your boys at Duke did something very similar. And I know we've done something like this, I think, in the spring, but before they went out to Cal, which obviously is a West Coast time, they did a late night practice and they invited students and all that stuff to come to the practice. They practiced in the stadium and did that whole thing. So there are other ways. Bye week in particular would be your perfect timing, so you're not giving away any schematic stuff or whatever. You're having a little bit lighter practices, but that's another way to engage.
David Lloyd says, have to start winning games against decent teams. And Noah says, how much better would attendance be if we were in the ACC? A lot better, because people love showing up for ACC teams. I mean, that's just the reality. So, look, the conference has a big part of it. Tulsa, Temple, these teams, UAB, North Texas. Like, they don't bring any fans. There were 14 Tulsa fans, I counted, in the Tulsa section last night. So, like, whereas when you play App State, they bring 5,000 people. When you play BYU, somehow they bring 8,000 people. So who you play does matter, but I do still think it needs to be better. John Moody says, I'm on campus every day. I never see any kind of promotion going on. So there's your own campus highlight.
Yeah.
Well, here's my
go for it.
Other thing with that. This team, they have a legitimate chance of playing for a conference championship. Yeah. Like, that's still in the grass. That's the other aspect of it. That
they're not a bad team.
No,
it's not a Scotty Moe team. Like, they're 4-3. Exactly. Going to make a bowl game, have a chance. So.
2-1 in conference. Schedule's favorable to get some wins here. I mean, if Memphis is not packed, I could see Charlotte. Charlotte should be good Saturday. Homecoming. In-state opponent.
They should bring at least some fans.
But Memphis, to me, is the one that I'm circling that should be rocking for all 4 quarters.
Eric Curry says, I want to know where the passionate fans are. I try to go to every game and always stay the whole time. Look, there's a lot of passionate fans. Case and Romelu made the drive. Shot me a picture of him in the stands last night.
And Cason's been traveling a lot because he's been in Charlotte the last 2 weeks.
He's traveling and he's doing his thing.
And he went to Greensboro for baseball. Yeah, how many people went to Greensboro for baseball last week? I can tell you, Kaysen, Zach Kaplan, and that's probably it.
I saw at least 20 ECU fans. So.
All right, so maybe there was more, but still, you get my point. Like, Kaysen's been busting his rear end.
Yeah. So, look, everybody's situation is different. Kaysen's a single male. He can do what he wants without repercussion at this point. But he's a true pirate.
He is a true pirate.
You can't deny that. All right, let's get a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the officiating a little bit, too. We'll get into ECU's defense. We got some other comments that are football-related as well. So we'll get on all that. This is Hoist the Colors on Reaction Friday.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU Athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Get ready to board.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Pirates win 41-27. It's a reaction Friday. We're breaking it all down. We're talking attendance. We're going to get into officiating a little bit. I do want to talk more about what happened on the field as well. And we've talked offense. It's good to see ECU's offense put together a pretty complete game. 41 points, 568 yards, the second most of the Blake Carroll head coaching era behind FAU, also on a Thursday night. So defensively, you look at the totals. I mean, they didn't get gashed as far as yardage. 398 yards isn't terrible, but 27 points. They also held Tulsa to 6 of 19 on third down, which is a good number. But they did give up really a lot of explosive plays. I want to say around, let's see, I've got big plays here. 6 passing plays of more than 15 yards and 6 rushing plays of more than 10 yards. So 12 explosive plays if you go by those numbers. So, defensively, what did you see, Bobby? And also fair to mention Pirates were without Rashid Reason last night, starting corner, fractured fibula. He'll probably miss a good amount of time. So what did you see on the defensive side?
Yeah, a lot of miscommunication in the secondary on the back end. I think you had a pretty obvious blown coverage there down the Tulsa sideline going into the boneyard, throw to the tight end. You had another one, play action pop is what we would call it, and the tight ends lined up behind the line of scrimmage leaking out. And, again, busted coverage there. It looked like they rolled to cover 3. The safety was probably cheated a little bit more to the field than my liking, but maybe that's schematically what they want to do. But obviously, nobody took him at the linebacker level. His eyes were in the backyard.
Totally bit on the play fake on that.
Yeah, and then from a run game, and our D line was able to wreak some havoc, which was good to see. We talked about going into the game how poor Tulsa's offensive line is, and that brings me to this next point in the run game. A lot of Tulsa's run game was perimeter run game. And so then that becomes the outside backers and those safeties' responsibility to come downhill and to make plays. And that's also where you get beat in the play action game too, because those guys are trigger happy. It's the same thing, very similar conceptually when you're playing a triple option team and those safeties are triggered into the run game as pitch players and whatnot. They're going to be trigger happy coming down, and that's how you see those triple option teams beat you over the top. So it's kind of very similar there. I think that's also really a credit to the defensive line, too, as much as Tulsa was afraid of them and trying to scheme around them. But that's what I saw in the run game is just really perimeter runs.
Yeah, you look at it. I'm looking at the explosive runs now. Jet sweep for 19 yards, jet sweep for 32 yards, and 2 scrambles. So 4 of the 6 explosive runs were not, traditional handoffs, so to speak. They had two 13-yard runs on the handoff to the running back. So it's not like your running defense was breaking down, as you say, like on an inside zone or just a traditional handoff. It was those perimeter runs or when the quarterback broke contain. So good mention there. 3.5 yards per carry they end up averaging. A lot of that was the sacks, 5 sacks last night. We talked about it pregame, Phillip, that ECU was going to have a chance to sack this quarterback. The offensive line for Tulsa is not great. And good to see Preston Carr, and I think like 8 or 9 different players contributed at least half a sack. So they were all involved.
They did a really good job getting pressure, and it wasn't only on blitz plays. They were getting there with 4, which was great to see. And, I think they did a good job containing them as well, too. They were aggressive, but not really very aggressive. I do want to ask Bobby one quick question. It's okay, Steven. It's about the busted coverage. So what happened there, Bobby? I just want to know whose fault this was. So for those of you guys who don't know or didn't have a good angle on it, it was man coverage. Tight end went in jet motion.
Rub route?
Yeah, so it was kind of a rub deal. So what happened is he went in motion. Teagan followed him. The tight end pretty much ran what ended up being a wheel route. The ex-wide receiver came in and ran right at Teagan. Now, he never really made contact. In that scenario, Bobby, is it on Teagan to take the contact and get the OPI call, or should the corner bump out and take the receiver? Because technically, Teagan's man was the tight end. Technically, the X receiver was assigned to the corner. What is supposed to happen there?
That's a good question because honestly, there's two different ways of coaching it, and it's really I don't know what they're coaching, but you have your one way is it's your man, you're following him no matter what, and the other way is you're communicating and passing off when you see switches and crossing routes and rub routes and those sort of things. You're communicating and then pivoting off. I do think regardless, though, you want Teagan, to try to run into that offensive player there to draw some sort of pass interference if possible. But, it did look – it was hard to tell because you could see I believe Jordan Lowry was the corner.
It was Lowry, yeah.
And he was trying to pivot, but it was almost like he was too late. So it made you think that there was some switching that was supposed to be going on. But
watching it live in the replay, I thought it looked like Teagan expected Lowry to pick him up, and he did not. And because I almost want to say, I need to go back and watch it. I want to say he pointed as the guy was going in motion, because I think Teagan kind of saw it coming.
And he clearly jumped in that throwing lane, I think, because Teagan kind of stopped and then kind of tried to face guard the tight end, it seemed like.
And y'all are remembering Teagan's aspect in this. It was Teagan true man-to-man, or was he a drop-down hole player, like a cover one hole?
It looked like to me he was a man.
True man.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, which is rare for ECU to go straight man. So, you got to give Tulsa's credit there for dialing up a play. Trey Lamb, good offensive mind. And Jordy hasn't played that much.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you got a true man and a guy who hasn't seen a lot of snaps. And, yeah, and that was dialed up with that thing. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, and Bobby, maybe it's different, Steven, maybe it's different for you. There were frustrating plays in that game. That one to me just looked like they dialed it up well. I was disappointed more than I was frustrated.
Yeah.
I tipped my hat to him there. No, it was third.
Okay,
but it was one of those a lot of people were ticked off. I was like, man, you got to tip your hat to them. They executed that perfectly.
Right. That was there's busted coverages just not being where it's supposed to be, and then they're just getting fooled or
the pop pass was busted coverage.
Yeah, so got to clean it up. Somebody mentioned the tight ends for the last 3 games have killed ECU, and I think a lot of that was kind of a unique play, but I think a lot of it is just ECU defensively. They're extremely aggressive against the run, and what's the best way? One of the best ways to burn a over pursuing defense, tight end. I mean, play action pass,
pop pass. Yep.
So I think that's as good as ECU is versus the run. A lot of that is they over pursue at times, which you kind of, if you're going to sell out to stop the run, you have to kind of live with the repercussions. So maybe they try to find during the bye week a little bit of a happy medium there, Bobby.
Well, and then the other thing too, we got to take into consideration, and this is just the nature of the beast. When we score more big plays, we're more aggressive offensively. We're moving the ball and scoring quickly, and we're scoring a lot of points. That's going to mean more possessions for the other team. So naturally, they're going to hit on those percentages maybe a little bit more than you would see in a lower scoring game. And I think that was part of what you saw last night. I wonder how much of it too was off the gas a little bit, maybe there, especially in the fourth quarter. But because that was probably my most frustrating thing about the whole game is the Pirates didn't freaking cover.
I was happy.
I know you were, and I was angry that I switched.
I'm sorry.
No, I had a gut feeling our offense was going to go off, which they did. I just didn't think I'd see Tulsa put up as many points as they did.
You know what? I said in the pregame show, I said how they cover is they're going to outscore them in every single quarter. In the fourth quarter, it was 10-10. And it was 10-7 before that field goal. They were covering.
Great backdoor cover. Great decision to kick Trey Lamb. I knew I liked you a lot.
Dude, I was hoping that Blake Harrell was going to kick there with about a minute to go.
I think we need an investigation into Trey Lamb here.
Some notes from PFF, initial grades. Darion Horsley, true freshman corner, got in for 15 snaps at corner. 6'2", I like this kid a lot. He actually finishes the highest graded Pirate, but really low snap count. So, he's got a chance to be a good player, but I'm not going to put him on this pedestal. But I do think he will play more after the bye. Preston Carr, Josiah Robinson, Raheem Craig, Kieran Davis, all graded out well. Tamir Brown at corner graded out well, did not allow a completion. So, again, we talk about the corners. Somebody also brought up in the comments, I can't find it, but a lot of these plays are at times on the linebackers too in coverage. So just because you're getting beat in the pass game doesn't mean it's just the corners or the safeties. So it all goes together, especially when ECU plays a lot of zone like they do. All right, quick question here. We'll touch officiating after this break, but Yannick Smith not getting a lot of targets. People want to know what's going on there. I want to say last night he did get a lot of coverage from Elijah Green, Tulsa's top corner. Officially, he got 2 targets, 1 catch for 4 yards. That 4-yard catch came on a 3rd down against Green. So I just think in this offense, you're going to have some days you get a lot of targets. I do want to see him targeted more, Bobby. Like, he feels like a guy that should be getting minimum 6-8 targets a game.
Yeah, last night it was kind of the nature of the beast. I think you're right in the sense that, we'll probably see between the Smith brothers, one of the, and I know they're not related, I'm just calling them Smith brothers. One of them is going to blow the top off a few times a game, and I think last night was Anthony Smith's turn. I think part of that, too, was, Yannick seems to be in the boundary a little bit more. Elijah Green's a boundary corner that was going to playing in the boundary. And then also they pressed a bit more in the boundary as well as keeping a safety over top. So then you take away some things there because they did a lot of cover 6, which is quarters to the field, cover 2 to the boundary. And so when you have cover 2 to the boundary, you're taking anything underneath in the flats away with your corner. You got any safety top help over top. The one instance of that double move we talked about earlier with Anthony Smith, that, again, was a bad angle by the safety, and that's your safety help over top. So
on the season to this point, Yannick has 38 targets, 30 catches. Anthony has 57 targets, 34 catches. So Yannick higher catch rate, Anthony the bigger play, but still second on the team in targets. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk officiating and all that good stuff. Anything else we need to get to. This is Hoist the Colors on a Reaction Friday.
Hurry to Greenville Toyota for model year-end savings on a Camry. Just $229 a month. $229 a month. Or new RAV4, $279 a month. $279 a month. Only during our model year-end move-out. Right now at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
It's Greenville Toyota's model year-end move-out. Save on a new Corolla, just $149 a month. $149 a month. Or new Tacoma, $249 a month. $249 a month. Now get them.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to hoist the colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Pirates are 4-3 after beating Tulsa 41-27 last night, Dowdy Ficklin Stadium. We've talked offense, we talked defense. We haven't talked special teams. Somebody said special teams kind of lackluster. Yeah, the punting game has been mid at best, but I mean, I don't really know what you can do to fix it.
Or 6'7", is that what the children say now?
Is that?
Shut up, Bobby. I hate that. That's the dumbest thing ever.
I had no idea what it was.
Mic.
Maybe we can get the students to tune into this show if we keep saying it.
Yeah, maybe. I just heard Jaden Daniels say it and start chuckling in a press conference, and I had to Google it like a dork.
Yeah,
I think it's the worst slang thing ever.
Weird,
like, we had some bad ones when I was a kid, but that one's stupid.
I can't disagree. Speaking of stupid, American Conference officials were pretty bad last night. All right, so let's start with the end of the game. I think you may have been zoned out at this point, Bobby, but what happened was there was an onside kick. Tulsa down right after the field goal to cover the spread. Onside kick, they try to get cute with it, do the little dribble. Jackson Barker, wearing number 70, just absolutely destroys the kicker. And 2 flags fly in. They sit there at midfield for at least 5 minutes. 6 referees talking, trying to decide what to do. They eventually pick up the flag. I just thought, like, how does it take that long to decide what to do? I mean, make a call, man. It had already been a 4-hour game at that point, and we're sitting there just talking and talking and talking. I'm all for getting it right, but, like, it doesn't take that long to get it right.
And it had no effect on the game.
Yeah.
We were going to take a knee. The game was over.
Just make a call.
Well, I'll pause because if they call targeting, I guess it gets reviewed, but you're talking about eligibility for the next game. So I understand that point, but what Philip was saying during the break, though, you call it targeting and then you review it, and it gets pulled anyways. At least do something.
My point was, if the guy wasn't a kicker, it was a completely legal hit. I mean, he did hit him high, but he hit him with his shoulder in the upper chest area. The problem is he's a kicker, so he has no idea how to take a hit. And it's Jackson Barker's job. I'm sure, look, Blake called a timeout right before they did this initially. They knew what the plan was. You know what he came to the sideline? Hey, Jackson, take out the kicker.
Yeah.
Make sure he doesn't recover the ball. So he was doing his job, and I'm just glad they picked up the flag.
Yeah, well, in hands teams, so the way it normally works, there's obviously weird plays, but the front line is supposed to hit the kicking team. The back line's supposed to catch the ball. So in that scenario, you had Jackson Barker in front of Kyler Pearson. So Jackson Barker is supposed to hit the most dangerous man. Kyler Pearson's supposed to recover the football. That's how it works. That's universal in football.
But, hey, the American officials just wanted to be there a little bit longer because Hunter points out that they're getting paid by the hour. So maybe that was,
that was
it.
Yeah, they were looking for hour 5.
The other big call was the third down TJ Engelman run where he appeared to get the first down pretty clearly. Now, ESPN then went back. They said his knee was on the ground. I never saw that. Cameron sent over some video on Twitter. I was like, I don't see what you're seeing, but you said, Philip, they may have blown the whistle for forward progress.
Yeah, so what I saw from my angle, and now we're pretty high up, and I was looking right down the line. And so if the knee was down, the knee was down. But what I thought is it looked like TJ got hit. Yes, it wasn't like an immediate push forward, but he was slowly still working his way forward. I heard a whistle prior to TJ finishing his run, and then he clearly fell past the first down marker, and that's what Pirate fans saw. I think what happened, you remember, forward progress is not reviewable. I think what happened is a premature whistle, which I understand people are still frustrated, and you should be frustrated. They messed it up. However, I can forgive, to an extent, a bad whistle, heat of the moment, live ball mess up by an official more than I can forgive we messed up after the play was dead, we spotted the ball in the wrong spot. Like, you can't mess up spotting the ball, and I think they did spot it where he was when the whistle blew. So I do want to say, based off the whistle, the spot was correct. I think the whistle was premature. That's one of those things, you cannot mess that up. You can always go back and review and say, no, the knee was down. No, you've got to give them the first down. You can't have a premature whistle because once the whistle blows, same as when you recover a fumble that they call not a fumble, and then you house it. And you're like, well, we can give you the fumble recovery. but we can't give you the touchdown. It's the same thing. You just, in the words of Coach Dugan, use your head. That's the lump that's 3 feet above your ass.
The old premature whistle happens to the best of us. The other bad call was, speaking of fumble return for touchdown, the quarterback was clearly down, man. I mean, I guess you want it to play out.
But you can always go back. It's better to do it that way.
Like, yeah, I mean, watching it live, I was like, what are we doing,
Poor
man?
JD, man.
His
JD's
head
just never going to get a
thrown
touchdown.
Yeah, JD's always thinking he's got a touchdown only to get called back. So, I mean, look, you put ECU and Tulsa on a football field, there's going to be some sketchy calls. I still remember like it was yesterday in 2020 when they overturned that interception and literally the referee fist bumped the Tulsa coach. I'm like, what are we doing over here, man? That will live, and then obviously the Tulsa screw job will live forever. All right, Bobby, we're in the final minute. Any final thoughts as we wrap this one up heading to the bye week for the Pirates at 4-3?
Yeah, this week, one thing I'm hoping the coaching staff does is that those backup tackles replacement, they should be getting essentially all of the reps this week. When they do live reps, there will be a lot of scout team stuff and prepping your young guys. And then the other thing, I'm curious if we see what is it, Horsley, the freshman corner, and then Mike Wright more coming out of the bye week at corner, giving them
There'd be a lot of length at corner.
Yeah, it would, and speed.
6'4", I think Mike Wright is, and Horsley's 6'2", so we'll see. Lots to work on the bye week. I think despite having a pretty recent bye week, it comes at a good time before the stretch run. Guys are pretty beat up. All right, Bobby, appreciate you, man. Always good
absolutely.
to do this after a win. Philip, thanks for your hard work, as always.
Appreciate it. It was fun. Go Panthers. Go Willie B. Talladega.
Go Panthers. Go Commanders. Go Broncos. Go Mariners. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Go Jags for Jansen Kidd. We will be back Monday, 12 noon. Bye. We've got some basketball talk coming your way next week, though, so stay tuned for that. I know Bobby's excited. We'll see you then, Monday, 12 noon.